Sayaka, hi. If you remember, I said that Dr. Aguilar once counseled me in his office at home. He was saying that if I wanted to be a scholar, which I did at the time, it was like 50 years ago, he said, you gotta be able to talk about what's obvious to you. He said, you're gonna find that is what people want to hear the most. They want to hear about what's obvious to you because what's obvious to you is not obvious to them. But he said it's very hard to talk about what's obvious to you because it's obvious you miss it. You don't even see yourself what you should be talking about. So on that note, I just realized that this movie, Il Conformista, that I've been watching for years, okay? What does it have in it? Okay, it has a guy who, in the movie, is almost raped by a gay dude, right? And, you also see that in the schoolyard, he's being, what do you call this, sexually abused by a group of other boys who got him down and are messing with his private parts, right? And so, let's extrapolate some analogies from that to my own life, okay? The little boy almost raped. Well, I'm the little boy who was raped. The little boy in the schoolyard being abused by his schoolmates. Well, that's, by analogy, I've got delayed maturation. So I'm kind of like the elephant in the room, in the locker room, when it comes to, hey, there's something wrong with him. Just like you see in the movie there, this group of kids groping this classmate of theirs. Okay, so here's what I noticed. This man. He gets involved with who? A bisexual woman in Paris. He's married. I'm married, and he goes to Paris on this weird assignment as a secret police, apparently, of Italy, and he gets involved, like I say, with a bipolar woman, a bisexual woman, and well, I've drawn analogies between me and the boy there, and well, now in my story now is this bisexual woman as well, it would seem, and I just noticed that. I said, my God, I've been watching this movie for 50 years. It didn't occur to me till today, the ongoing analogy between me and that movie. Well, here's some more. I'm thinking a little bit right now. This guy thought that he had killed that gay who tried to rape him. He had gone through life thinking he had killed him because you see in the movie he grabs a gun and he starts shooting it like this kind of wildly, and he does hit the rapist, and he believes as a little boy that he's killed him, but he finds out that later at the very end of that movie that the guy is still alive. He runs into him. The very end of the movie. So he's had this life where he's felt like he's done something terrible. He's murdered somebody. In fact, he's even confessed this. And you see the confession where he's going to get married to Stefania Sandrelli, the beautiful Italian actress who plays his wife. And she wants him to go to confession before he marries her. So he's confessing this murder, but he never did murder that man. So he's got all these problems in his life related to what? He was being abused, and he has all these problems as a result of the abuse, which is weird, right? It's not supposed to be that way. You suffer a wrong, you're not supposed to then come into all these negative consequences because you were wrong that way, right? And immediately I start thinking of, the women in the past who cried rape, and people were blaming them. They say, well, you dressed in the wrong way and this man went after you. It's your fault. And then let's say the woman has a baby as a result of the rape, and she's got to raise that baby in the world. She's running into all these punishments because she was wronged. Well, it's in this movie, The Conformist, that here this man goes through life believing he's murdered somebody when he was really defending himself. That's what he was doing from a rape. And so the problems, the guilt this guy runs into, they're compounded wrongly against him. None of this should have happened. And you find out at the end that he had not killed that guy at all.
Perché? Non facevate l'autista? No? Sì, tant'anni fa. Già. Avevate una pistola, vero? Io? Ma che volete dire? Sei ancora vivo.
Yet he'd suffered, as I said, the consequences in his own mind, mostly, for believing he had killed that man. Now, I'm just saying that this man who run into a near rape finds himself befriended by a bisexual woman.
Ma non ti puoi fidare. E poi i prezzi. Tanto vuole allora comprarla una stampatrice. Almeno in 3 o 4 mesi ammortizza sta spesa. Riparla dopo, GG.
And I'm just saying that appears to be what's happening in my life. So this is interesting to me. I haven't read any scholarly studies about men who have been raped and what happens afterward. But here we have a literary example, which means what? We have a model. And for that model just to have been produced, to come into existence at all, it's got to be, by definition, an experience that you might say prevails out there, whether it's talked about or not, as the kind of thing that happens to people who were male raped. You would say this is a myth describing the general experience of humanity with this kind of thing. And that's why we watch this movie. That's why the movie gets made, because it is true to the common experience of a lot of people. So I'm thinking about these things, well, you know how the movie ends, right? The bisexual woman gets murdered. Well, I'm not going to go into the details of the story, but I'm nobody in the secret police, okay? And so for that reason, I don't want you to think that there is like an attempt by me in this discussion to say that this film Il Conformista applies to our experience beyond the surface levels. I'm saying it does. It does not serve as a model for our experience. It does not. I've described what the model is for us. Our model is the story by Davis Grubb entitled Night of the Hundred. That's our model. And in that story, you are Miss Cooper. I'm John. My wife is Pearl. That horrifically evil serial murderer of the Night of the Hundred, that's the great doctor, America's Man of the Year, who was supposed to have been my father. That's who he is. And now, since he's passed away, it's all his buddies, all the gals and guys that are taking up his place in the story collectively as a group. That's our model. Our model is not Il Conformista where you're going to end up murdered. No, that's not going to happen to you, okay? It's simply not. Now, how can I say that? I wasn't prepared to talk on this level. Let me just say that these myths that are part of the environment we live in, I've said this before, these myths are as powerful as the most powerful phenomena in nature. Like, what are some of these really powerful natural phenomena? They're tornadoes, gigantic storms, earthquakes, right? Tsunamis. These are powerful, powerful movements, if you will, in nature. Okay, and they're even the change of the seasons, right? This kind of thing. And the seasons themselves. Powerful elements of our environment. That's what these myths are. They're the same in power as these gigantic natural forces all around us. So I'm saying that just like in the story of Oedipus, where Oedipus learns that he's in this story at birth, he's going to try to escape it. He is not going to escape it. And for that matter, it's even the story of Christ, right? Christ is the son of the Christian God, and it's demanded of him that he's going to be put to death for the sins of mankind is unreasonable as that may sound, but there's no escaping that. So all the way up to the end, there's no getting out of that story. He's in that story and he's not going to get out of it. Okay? So I would say that it's possible to identify what story you're in by drawing analogies between your own life and the various stories, the various myths that are out there. That's the most I can say without writing 10 volumes right now on this subject. And I got to say, way back at the time I was in graduate school, there was a book out called Scripts People Live, and I did read it. And that book, as I recall, it talked about how in families, for example, each family member will like assume the continuation of a family of a identity of one kind or another. This man was the crazy uncle. Next crazy uncle is this other family member who's going to take that place. The alpha male is this man, and next alpha male is this descendant. You're going to fill in there. This kind of thing. I think this, as I recall, these are the kind of scripts written ahead of time that people end up living. And I'm saying that these scripts they go far beyond these family roles, and they reach out into these gigantically powerful myths that are out there all around us, and I think it's possible for people to figure out what myth they're in, and thereby get better control over how they're going to get through the experience of being in that story as best they can, because there's no getting out of it. Well, that's the best I can do. But mainly I wanted to mention that like in 50 years of watching this movie, well, it's only been 3.5 years that I've done any thinking about you, okay? And during those 3.5 years, the idea that you might be bisexual, it didn't really start to dawn on me till, I don't know, time was passing and nothing was happening. So I was thinking, well, maybe I got this wrong somehow. And about you, and that's the reason for the holdup, because you see, I'm not getting it, so you were not coming forward. So I'd say that it's only been like within the past year of the 3.5 years that I've known you to be in existence at all, that I've come to think that, you know, you might be bisexual. And then I suddenly realized that this movie, Il Conformista, he has this guy, and there's all these parallels that I just mentioned. Okay, what's the parallel here? This man believes he's committed a murder, and he hasn't. And here's the parallel for me, okay? I go through life telling everybody unconsciously that I've committed all these homosexual acts. But I never have. I was never even conscious. So I didn't commit any acts at all, and yet I'm going through life being blamed the way this man blamed himself.
Che facevi? Eh? Cosa facevi alle 4 del pomeriggio il 15 ottobre 1938? Dove? Ma chissà cosa facevi?
I'm blaming myself. The whole society is blaming me wrongly. The way he was blaming himself wrongly. He's telling himself he murdered somebody when he did nothing of the kind. And I'm telling the entire world that I've been out committing one homosexual act after another when I was doing nothing of the kind. I was asleep, and then I was etherized, so I didn't even know these things were happening. And I'm telling the whole world that I did these things, but I did nothing of the kind. And I'm punished across my entire life the way this man punishes himself. Today is the 22nd of May. Yeah, Friday, May 22nd. And right now it's 4 minutes after 8 p.m. Bye for now. Okay, I want to expand a little on what I was saying about how about I forget what I was going to say? Oh yeah, why I was so scared when you showed up in front of my house. If that was you, I mean, I gotta say I'm not sure, because I gotta say it did not look like you. You know, so if it wasn't you, then it might have been a murderer for real, showing up there to kill me. So I'm not sure to this very minute who that was. Did not look like you, but on that point, you know, when you're really happy, you look like you're like 20 years younger than what you are. Like I get my favorite pictures of you. You look like a teenager when you're really happy and you're smiling that way. You look like, you know, you're 16, 17 years old. So if you were really happy about being on my front lawn, it transformed you to looking like a very young woman, much younger than you are. Okay, maybe that's what happened. At any rate, here's what I'm thinking about, just how petrified with fear I was when I saw that car floating down in front of my house the way it was. Now, I'm comparing that to the way the Grail appears. The Grail and the Bleeding Lance appear to knights in stories from the Middle Ages about the Holy Grail, the quest for the Holy Grail. Okay? What happens? Well, these are the holiest objects in Western civilization, right? This Grail is said to have held the blood of the crucified Christ. And if Christ is God to you, right? You're not Jewish, for example. I don't mean to be joking, but I'm trying to make the point here that this moment when you're seeing this relic, it's an extremely deep, mystical event for you. Okay, this is the presence of God for you in a very magical, mystical, powerful way, right? So, what happens to the knights when this Grail suddenly starts floating through the air and they see it? Well, they're struck the way. Let me make this analogy. The way like somebody like Moses was struck when he sees God. He's up on the mountain of Sinai and he's going to see the Lord. Well, what are you going to do when you see the Lord, right? Is this a powerful moment for you? Yeah. Are you going to be scared and thrilled and overwhelmed by this kind of experiences? Yeah. So, in addition to the fear I had from, thinking that this might be somebody here to murder me in a setup, was also the fact that, look, if this really is you, what does it mean? It means, to me, I'm an old man. It means confirmation that all the things I've been saying about myself and the world are true. And for somebody who's had the life that I've had, where everybody's been calling me crazy and denying the truth of anything that comes out of my mouth, nobody's listened to me. I'm the crazy uncle of my family. I'm mocked and humiliated across 40 years, and I suffer through all that. Well, suddenly, you show up and it is you. Which means what? Like I said, I've been all these years, I've been correctly interpreting reality. Things I've been saying are true, and here's the confirmation. I read these signs on TV from someone I don't know anything at all about, and it just so happens that as I'm sitting in front of the TV, I notice, because I am perceptive, and, well, as I say, for somebody who's had the life I've had, the confirmation of you showing up like that is overwhelming for somebody like me. It's like, I can't believe, I don't want to believe it because I'm going to be punished. See what I'm saying? I'm even going to be punished for this if it's true. I say, hey, she came to my front lawn. All right, put your hands behind your back. We're going to take you to see the doctor for your own good. Okay, this kind of thing's going to happen to me. So, yeah, I'm overwhelmed by seeing you and all the contradictory feelings I'm trying to describe. That this is, I'm saying, my God, I knew I was right all along, and here it is. So I just want to make that point in this short note. That in addition to thinking that I might be being set up, which is another confirmation, right? If somebody's coming here to my house to murder me, right? That also is confirmation that everything I've been saying is true. About crimes committed by the United States of America. It's all true, and here's the United States of America going to set me up to be murdered here. So confirmation is there in that way, okay? If it's not a murder, as I said, there's another confirmation the other way. So this is it's an overwhelming experience through and through, okay? No matter how you look at it. And as a result, I was transfixed, if you will, with fear, not even wanting to move on the floor of that trailer. And I was saying to myself, I am not going to budge no matter what's happening out there. That woman gets stuck, she's got to change a tire. I'm not going to come out of this trailer. I'm going to stay right here. Bye for now.